We have a quick look at headlines for you this morning. Facebook and Google are taking a hard line, banning fake news sites. The misleading pages can't advertise on the social media site or search engine anymore. The move comes over mounting criticism on how false news stories might have influenced the presidential election. And listen to this, from fake news to fake conversations. Guys, you all have to listen to this. It's pretty funny. Twitter erupting with memes of what Joe Biden could be saying to the president before they leave office. For example, look at this one. Come on, you got to print a fake birth certificate, put it in an envelope labeled secret, and leave it in the Oval Office desk. He also says there's no way he'll tell them the Wi-Fi password. And he tells Mike Pence, so you're going to be the VP? Well, then don't you dare touch my coloring books. I love that one. Brian, those are cute, aren't they?
No, I'm all business today, Ainsley. Thank you very much. That was the top of it. That was the top of the judge's head. You'll see his whole face in a second. Hey, it's been a cornerstone of President-elect Trump's campaign, and he's not backing down off his tough stance on immigration.
What we are going to do is get the people that are criminal and have criminal records, gang members, drug dealers. We have a lot of these people, probably 2 million. It could even be 3 million. We're getting them out of our country, or we're going to incarcerate. But we're getting them out of our country. They're here illegally.
And it looks like the law is on his side, even if Congress does not agree. Here to explain, Fox News senior judicial analyst Andrew Napolitano. And Judge, we're playing off the fact that a lot of mayors have come up and said, you know, we're not kicking our illegals out. We have sanctuary cities.
All right. Sanctuary cities are not cities where the federal government can't enforce the law. They are cities where the locals will not help the feds enforce the law. Can the federal government force local police to enforce federal law? Answer, no. Can the local police aggressively resist the feds? No. Can they stand silent? Yes. So a person has contact with the NYPD. The NYPD knows this person's here illegally. Under Mayor de Blasio, they will not report that person to the feds. The feds will have to find him. Under Mayor Giuliani, they would have reported that person to the feds, hung on to him or her until the feds came to take that person away. President-elect Trump actually has the law on his side because Congress has given American presidents great leeway to make a determination based on national security, national sovereignty, and the resources available about who should be deported and who should not be.
Some of the states have pushed forward and said, leave our illegals alone. Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, L.A., San Francisco. Look at that was just off the top of my head. I think you're pretty impressed by that. Now the map came in to say, help me.
Always impressed by
Thank you very much. Minneapolis and Seattle. So, Judge, they're saying leave my illegals alone.
So that doesn't mean that illegals can't be deported from there. It just means that the local authorities, police and civilian authorities in those cities will not help the federal government enforce immigration law.
No, I hear you. Having said that, let's look at the reality of it. Donald Trump has made it clear after his initial announcement that he is going to focus on securing the border and getting criminals, illegals here who are criminals, out of the country. Do you also see that there'll be pressure on those mayors to not protect criminals in their midst?
Absolutely. Look, yesterday, Rahm Emanuel, of all people, said, you know, come to Chicago and you'll be safe.
No one's safe in Chicago.
Correct. It's really ridiculous to say that about Chicago. But the unintended consequences of that is going to be more pressure on the social welfare of the city, probably more crime, probably more congestion, the types of things that mayors have a difficult time dealing with.
Yeah, especially Rahm Emanuel in particular. And the president also said yesterday, don't touch DACA, which means kids taken here as infants, young kids, 4 or 5-year-olds, get to stay because he had an executive order. That's going to be a little bit tougher politically.
Well, that executive order was invalidated by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and the Supreme Court tied on whether or not to overturn it. So the executive order is out. Donald Trump, President-elect Trump, will have to issue his new executive order as to how he wants to address it. That executive order pertains to the illegal parents of legal children. So illegals come in this country and have a child. Should you separate the child, who's an American citizen, from the parents who are here illegally? That's a problem that the Trump administration is going to have to confront very soon.
I'm just getting word. Judge, every time you appear on our show, you get the Fox and Friends home game. Today...
What's the home game?
The home game is you get to pretend you're Fox and Friends at home, like password. But today, because Ainsley's book launch, you get 25% off the cover price.
I get 25% off. Shorty gave me a free one.
Really? No. Well, this is going to charge you at the end. It's a typical Ainsley Earhart move. Hey, let me tell you what's straight ahead.
Remember when President-elect Trump made this prediction about all American companies moving overseas?
They're going to call me up within 24 hours. They're going to say, Mr. President, do you have any second thoughts? I say, absolutely not. They say, sir, we've decided to stay in the United States.
Go ahead, Judge. Finish my job.
Can you make that happen? A worker whose job is moving to Mexico is here next.
You're playing the home game. Keep going.
Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway, my childhood friend from New Jersey,
to the prompter, please.
is here next hour as the Trump administration quickly takes shape. Could she be joining his cabinet? Brian, thank you for letting me do this.
Are you just about done now?
Take it easy.
I say, hi, Donald Trump, President of the United States. I hope you enjoy your stay in Mexico. Every single air conditioning unit that you make and comes across the border into the United States, we're going to charge you a 35% tax. They're going to call me up within 24 hours. They're going to say, Mr. President, do you have any second thoughts? I say, absolutely not. They say, sir, we've decided to stay in the United States.
President-elect Donald Trump won the White House on that very message, keeping manufacturing jobs here in the U.S.
And it all really started at Carrier Air Conditioning, where Paul Roll had been a loyal employee for 17 years, and they all get the word, because someone's rolling an iPhone, that they're all going to be laid off and their plant is moving. Mm-hmm. Paul, are you pretty relieved that it is now President-elect Trump?
Yes, I am.
Why?
I feel that he's going to carry through on his promise to keep more manufacturing jobs in the United States. I honestly don't believe he's going to be able to keep Carrier, but I'm very hopeful that he can. And it's not the sole reason I voted for him.
Paul, what's your story? You were there at 17 years at Carrier. You know, what happened when you found out that it was moving?
It just felt like somebody just punched me in the gut when I was standing there listening to the executive just in a very cold manner telling us our jobs are going away. And I mean, I'm just still trying to figure out where I'm going to go after Carrier.
We're looking at the video of when you guys all got the news that you were losing your jobs. What do you expect now from Donald Trump now that he's won?
I expect him to hopefully just follow through with what he said, with contacting Carrier, maybe trying to work something out to where we can keep at least some of the jobs here in Indianapolis, rather than sending the whole factory down to Mexico.
So your hope is that specifically Carrier would rethink its policies and keep jobs there. Do you have an expectation he can, and a hope that he can do that for companies across the country?
Yes, I do, because he's a businessman and he wants Americans to have money. Because when Americans have money, they're going to buy the products that he makes, even if they are from other countries. They're going to have money to stay at his hotels. So I believe he does want to keep more jobs in America and give Americans more money through their jobs.
Kind of interesting. Yesterday, he had a conversation with the Chinese leader, and they went back and forth kind of a little bit. The Chinese leader kind of threatened us a little bit. Hey, if you guys start with these tariffs, maybe we're going to start making less iPhones and other things. So we'll see how this sparring session comes out, as these two seem to be stalking each other. But here's the thing. This is what you got to look for, Paul. You got to look to see if there's tax reform and trade reform. If those two things are within the 100 days, which are on his list, that means he's in route to fulfilling his promise.
Yes, and it's not something that I expect to happen within his first year. I know it takes time for some of these things to get taken care of, because it's not just up to Donald Trump to do it.
Paul, that's a fantastic perspective. That's exactly right.
A lot of people are putting their hope in him, and because of stories like yours. Thank you, Paul. I will say Carrier sent a statement. We're making every effort to ease the transition for our Carrier colleagues in Indiana.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Doesn't
Paul.
mean the jobs are coming back yet.
Thank you, Paul.
We'll
But I do
Paul.
expect something in the first year. That's when he's got his most power. But meanwhile, straight ahead.
Talk about stress, what these guys are going through.
That's
These are
exactly right.
Americans.
That's why people
You're in our
voted the way they
prayers.
did.
All right, still ahead. Kellyanne Conway, senior advisor to President-elect Donald Trump. She's coming up.
And I just told you about China threatening to hold our Buicks and our iPhones hostage. Can they do that? Stuart Varney is here. He does not. He carries a flip phone. So
Good day, November. Elect Donald more cabinet this morning. And it looks like really post.
Mayor and President Obama loyal Rahm Emanuel doesn't care. He doesn't. The president about
will be very sick.
They're doing it for political. Come after the.
so to be clear, Chicago.
University of Virginia. Outrage. Still better.
Straight to the top new president about Donald Trump final team role for Rudy.
Vice President is heading to Trump to review.
Yeah, the latest.
Well, let's. Believed to be, and he told me, sorry about it. Rudy Giuliani out.
Section the Trump administration to
Is I don't know.
Senator Jim also believes, but he is a top for secretary. When you replacing rings previous see and final press out in them familiar face.
First, away with.
You can go at this time. Bring up everything. Get more.
And let's have a great.
Yep.
New deserves these because they're loyal.
Across the board.
From 3. I'm well. Which covered and he Democrats lost poorly. He said area of state Iowa. I'm it back. Democrat have to listen.
Everyone. We have to something that's on their running career. On every W.
What's him?
Shot it. Time with effort in it.
Fish for.
Yeah. To election. Finish line. Whether it was. Yeah.
Sat down with Tim Kaine rally where 30 people showed up. Trump was.
That's. I think it's going to these swing is having a student will be yelling We know that. It was really no one on the glide path. Meanwhile, this crowd had listened to him yesterday and said this.
I'm sure the changes. How come this part that yes, if you don't go support, I would as a hey.
Hillary, you saying that, wasn't he?
Well, was necessary. Obama. I mean, yeah. Oprah. He's from Clinton team. Legacy, the transition, the leaks from this private fear.
Also do what war to do or be able to have perhaps he's they pose to it. Look, I'm
people big issue in this. See the map yeah, of the where I arrested scary. Whether or not, even though they're all here, I'm not sure.
You can change policy to address that.
It's scarce already here. It's a huge. All these out, including the mayor of City, Chicago, saying says, and you can go out. You're getting deported. Listen.
Clear. Will we ace it? Those who are nervous, just feel spoken. Are secure in Chicago, and you supported port in Chicago.
Sure, they
feel safe in Chicago. 58 murdered and killed drug cartel. This running 8 home state of Minnesota and mayor there by Minneapolis for that's by Trump.
A couple of things. Number Number two, most teachers they're pushing students out the door. Yesterday, panics. People in power now. That's a misconception. Trump wants to do it. Ads that will put out against him and in they have a mind made when there's a legal way that those steps as with the millennials.
And this thinks that safely criminals politics
education citizens what understand it's actually by doing inflating it and you're criminal you're gonna come get regardless.
I have not true first. Can I wait? Wait here.
Okay. There. Morning to all. We'll start out with the Rock's News at 5. Serial force major of a terror fighter targeting jihadi depot and training Aleppo. Russian President Vladimir Putin elected Donald Trump on him when situation in Syria is long open seas. Major country ISIS researching off recruiting for ISIS and arrest anyone group which brands official in secured home back one step travel to get secret they're not for so delayed after the house continue is but not Dayton's basketball team Alabama in the they don't her. It's a little awkward. That's it. Thanks, Heather.
All right, let's if it easily as if muffs
we are going to win. We are going to have one of the great victories of all time. Of all time. This is going to be Brexit times 50. It will be an amazing day. It'll be called Brexit plus plus plus.
I guess we have to come up with a name for it now, and of course we all know what happened next. But how exactly does President-elect Trump's victory compare to Brexit, and what lessons can an administration learn from Britain, and what attacks are coming down the pike? Here with us right now with insights, Conservative member of the European Parliament and Brexit supporter, great friend of the show, Daniel Hannan. Daniel, you got voted out of a job by Britain. They said, we don't need you in the European Union anymore.
Right.
You're happy about it.
I certainly am.
From the outside, now that you're on the inside, what was the view of Donald Trump, and how does it equate to Brexit?
You know, I think there are some similarities. I wouldn't want to overdo this. You know, a big part of his shtick, as I understand it, is that he doesn't want free trade with China. A big part of our argument was that we did want trade with China. The EU wouldn't let us have it, and we thought we could have a more free trade, more deregulated, and more global Britain outside the EU. So I don't want to overdo it, but there are some parallels. One is all the threats to the economy. We were told that there would be a complete disaster, and of course it didn't happen, and it hasn't happened here. I remember tweeting just after the Trump victory saying, buy the dip, things are going to recover, and the Dow is now at its highest ever point.
It opened up, and now it's at an all-time high.
Right, so that was just wrong, you know. Another thing I think that you're going to find is that there will be a reported increase in bad behavior, insults, even violence, and it's all going to be Trump's fault, or the fault of the media that supported him. This has happened since the vote in Brexit. There's been this widely reported spike in hate crime, which actually, when you look at the figures, is non-existent. Right. There hasn't been any more cases referred to prosecution. What's been happening is that more people have been complaining to the police, in some cases about Brexit supporters. It's not actual, or there were incidents that were unrelated. There was a burglary that was widely reported as a hate crime. So stand by for a lot of that.
Really? You watch these riots on the streets in Portland, here in New York, in Chicago, everywhere else, and there's a lot of violence and things, a lot of destruction going on there, but people are not focused on that.
Yeah, I mean, you watched those and you think, that rampage, that's really going to show all those Republicans in Portland, Oregon, right? What's going through these guys' minds? You know what I think it is? No one has ever said no to them. We have a generation that has never been gainsaid. It's the generation of the safe spaces and the microaggressions. Are you
talking about America, or are you talking about the world?
The world generally, but it started here, I'm afraid. There is a cosseted generation of kids who get to university and are taught that the way of dealing with an opposing opinion is to try and ban it or silence it. And when something like this happens, they react with a tantrum.
I got something else to add into this. It is the people, the famous, the wealthy, who think they know better, and when there are more blue-collar, lower middle class or lower class people who want to rise up and say, I'm not happy with this globalization, you've ignored me, I have a vote too and I matter, they're outraged. People in England were outraged that you guys lost the Brexit vote.
And being insulted and patronized again is doubling down. It's reminding everyone of why they voted either for Trump or for Brexit. Like I say, I don't want to overdo this, right? I wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, but watching all of these people rioting, and watching the way in which in Europe it's become an excuse for anti-Americanism now, it's very difficult not to find your sympathies swinging back again and thinking, hang on, this is over the top now. That the US is a friendly country, it's a strong ally. Everyone should hope for the best now. Right.
Well, there's only one America. We can't be replaced. You can have disdain, but you can't really have defense without us. Always great to see you, Daniel.
Always a pleasure.
I wish you'd defect. I would welcome you here and sponsor you.
I'm a strict constitutionalist.
Okay.
In you.
All right, coming up straight ahead, the media pouncing overnight on a story that claims that President-elect Trump wants top secret clearances for his children. Kellyanne Conway, senior advisor to President-elect, is here to respond next. And our mom panel digs into Mr. Trump's...
President-elect Donald Trump now at Ohio University was and then look at the stay during a happened yesterday. Brought in our to talk. We have Beth and Lauren being involved. Talking about what's happening, or that's a thing of failed. At high school, say that picking up and pro needs to be agree that
I think first of all, Ben. But the reality is that 1 million again is to try to vote for him on the electoral college, like a large of Americans action represent yesterday. Yes, he Potus, Steve Bannon, who is a white the most commentary. I mean, I have not gone out there to do it. We have first and
everyone gets every trophy. It's true ones whenever. No one. People, can't cope. Haven't watched or they.
Critics of liberal mainstream media, they don't like gun violence. Don't like guns. They're beating people up.
Anyway, it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. Any virus with us to group with a unfair of bullet from Trump is Trump's supporters. It's normalized on
you. You have a child in school reform.
Well, I'm learning mentally appropriate and the material through there were K through 3 t-shirts. Music or in their product. They're paid. It's just school.
They've been too busy. Our kids teaching how to live in the real. They're focused. First of all, for the kids, given parents, just to have responsibility.
its own good thing. Honestly, accountability need to offer a kid and can't argue. Hey, then you correct choose where it all goes.
So the no. I mean, first of all, one is 85, and so in also it's not. Wait a minute. Not if you believe in it. I
you can talk about you want, but never going to happen. Parents,
well, not okay at the government. The problem that why does it more? Wait a minute. Country, we compass contract. Comfortable. Okay, it's wrong. Yeah, we've got to church morals. Remove the God. Schools turned out to be a good thing. Look at protest. I believe in God, but I'm not. I don't think my $20 packing for kids.
I'm not saying these vouchers actually charters to pay up for public voucher. A prior. I
agree with. Decide my learn is that has been always last or of the particularly my for more that's behind losing exponentially.
Thank you. Oh God, my God. Thank you. Over clearance. She has and China fires the first trade Trump.
There you go. It is a huge day for us here on Fox and Friends, but especially specifically Ainsley Earhart. This is the publishing day for her first book ever, surely not the last. Take My Heart, Child and
That's
Mother.
not what it's called.
I had to take a breath. Sorry.
Take heart.
Take heart, my child.
I'm not going to take your heart.
Right. Okay.
It says
it's more of a medical book.
It's Take Heart, My Child.
Right.
A mother's dream.
But it's out today. That's the most important thing.
That's true.
It is out today.
Go on Amazon and search for Come and Take My Heart, and here's the knife to do it.
Put Ainsley in there. It'll pop up.
That's the name of the book right there. Take Heart, My Child.
That's correct.
Thank
and
you.
if I'm correct, it was inspired by your own childhood and is a lullaby to your one-year-old daughter.
That's true. So my dad always left us messages next to our cereal bowls every morning. I have great parents. They were always trying to teach us lessons. Like Dad loved to say, Walt Disney quote, it was, I hope I'll never be afraid to fail. And failure comes between you and your destiny oftentimes. So don't ever let failure get in the way of your dreams. That was one of the ones, stay up with the owls, don't expect to soar with the eagles. Nothing good happens after midnight. Can y'all relate to some of these? Did your dad teach you all these? Yeah. And he taught us a lot of scripture. So that's where the title of the book, Take Heart, My Child, I was meeting with the publishers and they said, what's it like talking about ISIS and this election? And I said, it reminds me of a scripture, just take heart that I am with you, I am God. And so the scripture's in the book, John 16:33, take heart, I have overcome the world. So that kind of gets me through.
You can tell that this was written by you. It comes across as so personal and wonderful.
Thank you
and
so
not
much.
Sebastian Gorka. He has a different answers to how to handle ISIS.
Look at the illustration. Did you see the illustrations? Jamie Kim did this, and she's amazing. So Dad and my baby are going to come on the show in about an hour.
Awesome. All right, great.
They're on their way.
A couple of things else also coming up now is Kellyanne Conway. Don't ask me how I know.
I think we have. There's Kellyanne. Hey, Kellyanne.
Hi.
Great to see
Missing
you.
you on the couch today.
I know. Yeah, what's going on with that? We thought you were going to be in studio, but I know you have a lot to do. What job are you going to have in the White House?
It's the transition to a new government. New
How's that
sheriffs
going?
in town.
It's true.
How's it going?
It's going beautifully. The transition team is working. I mean, we feel like we're still trying to win the upper Midwest. We're so busy. And but anyway, you're trying to form a new government, and Mr. Trump, President-elect Trump, love the sound of that, by the way. Let me say it again. President-elect Trump is very busy taking interviews, speaking with heads of state, talking to different people who may serve in his cabinet and his senior team, and he's really fitting so nicely into the role.
So, Kellyanne, that's why I was pretty stunned to get this report. I thought the president was great right in the Rose Garden. Then after meeting with Donald Trump, I thought his tone was perfect, as did Hillary Clinton's. And then this story comes out in the Wall Street Journal. According to an unnamed source, during their private meeting between President and Donald Trump, Mr. Obama walked his successor through the duties of running the country. And Mr. Trump seemed surprised by the scope and said people familiar with the meeting, Trump aides were described by those people as unaware the entire presidential staff working in the West Wing had to be replaced at the end of Mr. Obama's term. Is that true, as you know it?
Well, it's unfair and it's also untrue. Everyone is well aware of what happens in the West Wing and elsewhere within a new president's administration. And it sounds like that comes from the staff level. People like to leak to the media, don't we all know it? But I would just focus on the two men at hand, the president and the president-elect. And I think the rapport that they built last week, even though they're political nemesis, I get that, they have a shared love of the country and a shared love of a peaceful transition in our democracy, which elevated Donald Trump to the presidency in a not even close election. What does that mean? What it means is you hear President Obama trying very earnestly to respect the will of the people. He did it yesterday in his press conference again, where he very clearly said, I look at Donald Trump as pragmatic, not ideological. Wow, what a message that should send to the throngs of protesters, not my president, people accusing he and his senior staff of being things that they're not and saying things that they don't believe. I think it's an incredibly powerful message all the way from the top in President Obama, who recognizes that he's not a political hack, he's the president, and he's trying to help the president-elect transition into power.
Is your sense that he's doing so sincerely based on those reports? He really is earnestly wants to make sure you guys come in to succeed?
It certainly seems that way. That's every report I got from President-elect Trump himself. He could not say enough warmly about the welcome and the advice that he received from President Obama. And also, I've spoken to Mrs. Trump about her meeting with First Lady Michelle Obama, which was also spectacular. They just very much the Trump family very much appreciated being received so graciously. And these are people who run for president because they love the country and they want to serve. And I think you'll see that. It wasn't lost on me yesterday. I mean, President Obama threw a little bit of shade Hillary Clinton's way, as did Bernie Sanders earlier in the day on ABC's The View. They're both sort of signaling to her that she didn't do well politically because she didn't understand the cultural changes. She didn't understand, didn't really misread America and what the electorate was looking for. They weren't looking for celebrities. They weren't looking for vitriol about the other candidate. They were looking for a substantive conversation about issues. And it is my Republican Party and our President-elect Donald Trump that now legitimately represent the working man, working woman, forgotten woman. If you look at the statistics from this election, over 300 electoral votes, that's just amazing. But look at the governorships, majority Republican, 69 of the 99 state legislative chambers are Republican. There are only 4 states in this country right now that have both a Democratic governor and a Democratic state legislature. 4.
Wow.
So people are telling us something about policy.
I want to ask you about the kids, because a lot of people are just fascinated with the Trump children and their success. We're getting reports that the Trump team is seeking top secret security clearance for the children. I want to know if that's true. And also, is Barron going to enroll in school down in D.C., or is he going to stay here in New York?
Well, on the matter of top secret security, I don't know a lot about that topic, Ainsley, beyond what I read. And it sounds to me, based on what I read and know, that was an informal question that was posed by someone. It doesn't sound like it was a formal request. And again, somebody leaked it. I don't know if to embarrass or stir up trouble. But look, the Trump children will be very supportive of their father and his presidency. I know people see them publicly, but they don't really know how much these 4 adult children Ivanka, Tiffany, Don Jr., and Eric were out there, and their spouses, by the way, out there actively campaigning for Donald Trump.
No, I agree, Kellyanne, but I just want to bring you to that real quick, because it would make total sense that he'd want them by his side, and to be able to confide in them, they would need top secret clearance. And that's something President Trump would be able to do, but yet someone's got to run the company, and he only trusts them to run the company.
Right.
How would that be resolved, do you think?
Well, they're discussing that, and that's their business, and I know that they will make public what their decisions are. But obviously, they have a team of advisors who are counseling them on how best to do this. But at the same time, and look, they are full small P partners within the company, meaning this has been a family business at the Trump Organization for decades. They all have very senior roles. They are all in charge of buildings and acquisitions. Ivanka obviously separately even has her own line of clothing and jewelry, etc. So this is an uber successful family as entrepreneurs and business people, but you can expect them to support their presidency. I've talked to Mrs. Trump about their plans, and she will make her decision about her 10-year-old son, who's now in 5th grade, in due time. But she's there to support her husband's presidency. She also is actively interviewing for the First Lady's staff. So things are really churning up there at Trump Tower and here in D.C.
Kellyanne, one name we hear all the time is Rudy Giuliani. There was a lot of expectation he might for a certain role, but we're hearing him for another, potentially, Secretary of State. What can you say about that?
Well, that's possible. And Mayor Giuliani and I both happened to be the speakers last night at a CEO Council Wall Street Journal event here in Washington. So he said publicly that he would not be Attorney General. His name certainly has been mentioned in a serious way in connection with Secretary of State, a job that he's qualified for and a job that he would do exceedingly well. He has one of, 8, 10 advisors that were very close to Donald Trump throughout this campaign. It's a very small group of us, and I know that he would serve the president according to his best and highest use.
Well, it's going to be fascinating to see who does what. I'm also fascinated to see the outrage that's coming across because Steve Bannon was named as chief strategist, and that keeps on associating him with headlines from Breitbart and labeling him. Is Donald Trump, or you specifically, Kelly, surprised by the backlash?
I'm surprised by I'm not that surprised by the backlash, but it's so wrong. And they're cherry picking a couple of headlines here and there, and they're laying that at the feet of Bannon and Trump. This guy is a brilliant tactician, Goldman Sachs managing partner, Harvard and Georgetown degrees, and frankly, it was a big help in our campaign in getting us over the 300 electoral vote mark. I just think that people can't accept the election results, to coin a phrase. We were asking the right questions about the wrong campaign and their supporters. So those who can't accept the election results ought to listen to people like President Obama, who clearly has accepting them and is trying to move forward with the new president.
Just happy with the tone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Kellyanne.
See you soon.
Can't wait to see what job she gets. Meanwhile, straight
I was going
ahead.
to say, her life just changed.
Very much
for the better.
Yep, that's right. Well, still ahead, could the iPhone really be collateral damage in President-elect's potential trade war with China? Well, Fox Business Network Stuart Varney, there he is, walking in. He's here to break down China's new potential threat. Well, we couldn't agree.
They had a cordial talk last Sunday, but the president-elect's Chinese counterpart already taking first shots in a looming trade war with a warning for American goods. That includes iPhones and cars.
Well, what exactly does that mean? Here to break it all down for us, as he always does, is Stuart Varney, host of Varney & Company on FBN.
Good morning.
Stuart, what do you make of all this?
First of all, Ainsley, you said a looming trade war.
Oh, was I wrong?
I don't think so.
What do you
you're
think?
seeing is the two sides establishing early negotiating positions. Donald Trump's got his position. We'll slap a 45% tariff on your stuff coming here. The Chinese say, well, we'll take less iPhones, less American cars, less American soybeans and corn. We'll take less of that.
Well, that's what I said.
That's not a trade war. That's negotiating positions.
You just weren't listening.
I was listening very carefully. Look, if there's going to be a trade war, if there's any hint that there is a real trade war, you would see Wall Street sell off like you wouldn't believe. It would come straight down. In fact, the exact opposite has happened whilst all this talk's going on. The Dow Industrial Average has hit a series of record highs, and this morning it's really close to 19,000 for the first time ever.
What's your theory on why this is happening? Could it be that the Russian conversation with Vladimir Putin went extremely well with Donald Trump yesterday? Could it mean they liked the exchange between the two leaders of China and America? Could would it mean that tax reform could be first and foremost on the things to do list?
I think it's a stretch. I think a main point here is China has a problem with America. America has a problem with China. It's a trade problem. They're going to work it out.
So what's the most likely
bring
workout?
other stuff in.
What's the most likely workout?
A deal of some kind. Trump backs off, the Chinese back off, a deal of some kind, business as usual, probably in our favor.
TPP, the China would love for the TPP to fall apart.
I believe so. Remember, China's got a $300 billion surplus in trade with America. They've got a lot to defend. We got leverage.
Watch Barney and Company from 9 to noon on the Fox
Here's
Business
one thing
Network.
I know. It's a great show. The #1 rated show on the Business Channel. Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stuart. Hey, coming up straight ahead, one of the most recognizable voices and faces in sports will join us on the Curvy Couch. Joe Buck's here with a big reveal in his new book about what really changed.
Oh, there it is.
And of course, he's reading the back.